If you see a faded sign at the side of the road that said 50 miles to the Love Shack! Ladies, gentlemen, and variations thereupon, this is modern escapism. I'm waiting to do that.
I wasn't expecting that.
Take my breath away and welcome to the show. My name is MC Oodles, and joining me today, he's the dandy highwayman who you're too scared to mention. He spends his cash on looking flash and grabbing your attention. It's Biggie.
Thank you.
He used to work on the docks. Union's been on strike. He's down on his luck. It's tough. So tough. It's Gadget.
It is really tough up here, to be fair. I had to sell my 6-string and everything.
Sometimes you're better off dead. There's a gun in your hand, it's pointing at your head. You're thinking you're mad, you're too unstable, kicking in chairs and knocking down tables. It's Stig!
I don't know what that one is. Hello.
Pet Shop Boys.
Nah.
Tell me why I don't like Candy. Because she's fucking off the episode again.
It's alright, it'll come out of a Christmas pay cut.
Comes out of her money. But yes, she's not with us again today, but she will be soon. Before we get into the show, please consider becoming one of our sexy and incredibly cool patrons to help us divide and conquer the podcasting world. Details are in our show notes, but mainly check out our website, modernescapism.co.uk, for more exquisite content and links to everything we do. Give me that thick, juicy, Biggie's breaking news, please. Oh.
Splurge.
You may already know, but he doesn't, because it's time for Biggie's Breaking News.
Okay, so first up.
Okay.
First up
High
this
energy
week.
today. High energy. Come on, I'm
I can
poorly.
feel it.
Let's
I
not...
can feel it.
You've been snorting Calpol again, Noodles.
I'm fucking sick as a dog, mate.
So, Gears of War was released 16 years ago this week, and to mark the occasion, Netflix has partnered with the Coalition to adapt the Gears of War video game saga into a live-action feature film, possibly followed by an adult animated series, with potential for more stories to follow. So a certain ex-wrestler turned actor, Dave Bautista, responds to the fan casting about him for this and released a little video on Twitter. And it looks pretty cool.
The video is actually Gears of War promotional video.
Yeah, because he was in Gears of War 5, isn't he?
Yeah, it's actual official from Gears of War 5. He was a skin where you could replace Marcus Phoenix with Batista.
Cool.
So it's an actual official Gears of War like promotional package. So it's there.
It's there.
It's here. Like he's Marcus Phoenix. Come on, like he's got the right
Even
shape,
commented,
the right size.
He quoted it.
Like,
He says, "I can't make this any easier."
You literally can't.
They could do him and have him in, but overdub him with John DiMaggio. So it's the full package.
I don't think it would need to do that. That would be too complicated. But I'd like Batista as Marcus Phoenix. He'd do well at it.
I've been fan casting. I threw some of mine into our Discord. I'm going for Baird, Anthony Starr. Come on, you can see it.
Yeah, you can see it.
I don't know what that is. I mean, I know Anthony Starr, but I don't know. I don't know who Bear
Oh,
is.
right. Well, you stay out of this.
Okay.
just with Baird, he's blonde. He's got that same sweep back hair.
He's blonde. He's an arsehole. Like, it's perfect.
Okay.
And I thought that, Terry Crews seem to be the perfect Coltrane, wouldn't he? But
He would.
But I think Michael J. White would probably be better because Coltrane's got to be a bit younger than. Marcus,
I was going to say Michael J. White's younger, isn't he?
Yeah,
because Terry Crews is in his mid-50s now.
You don't look it.
No, I mean he's got. I mean, Coltrane
None of us
is
do.
basically him, ex-footballer, like loud, brash, muscly. Like he is him, like Terry Crews. But
Yeah.
And John Bernthal, I thought would make a good Dom, but
Dom?
yeah,
Dom Toretto?
No. Dom Santiago. Although I know that's a bit whitewashing.
That's a little bit whitewashing.
But I couldn't think of a known actor that I know that would fit that part. I just thought he looked the part.
I can.
So
Vin Diesel.
We are never, ever rebooting Fast and Furious, I'm telling you now.
Yeah, we are.
That's
Mate.
not
You don't
gonna
need
happen.
reboot, and it's just still high in the stratosphere.
He's crushing.
That's the greatest.
I mean, to be fair, you could also have John Bernthal as Baird. He would work for that as well. You could put John Bernthal in any pit of it. He's big enough, isn't he?
That's what I mean. He looks
the
hard
problem
as fuck, and his sports a good go-to. That's why I was like, yeah, he could be Dom.
Yeah.
He's going to play me in our film as well.
That's the problem with casting a Gears of War film, is because they are so cartoonishly overloaded with muscle. It really limits the amount of actors. Like, The Rock will be in there somewhere because he's big enough to be in it. That's about it.
The Gears of War people, they look like chuffing Warhammer people.
The best, the thing I always find funny about the styling on Gears of War as well is you've got these kind of really big, burly, massive men, but the women are like tiny and petite. And it's just like, it's such a random, like when you see Marcus Phoenix next to Anya, it's ridiculous, the disparity in sizes between male and female.
Because we can't have muscly women in our games with chainsaws.
No.
No way. Next.
Oculus creator has made a virtual reality headset that intentionally kills people, apparently. And it's called Nerve Gear. Can explode its wearer's brain. The system aims to closely tie people's virtual life to their real one by bringing them to both to the end at the same time. If someone dies in a virtual reality game or experience whilst wearing a headset, then they'll be killed in real life at the same time. It does so by detecting the specific shade of red that shows when a person dies, meaning that the developers could easily integrate this in their system. Once that red shows, 3 explosive modules explode, instantly destroying the brain of the user.
I'm getting one.
Yeah, I pre-ordered.
I'm gonna do that Dark Souls 3 no death run that I attempted that time, and I got quite far, but I died. I'm gonna do it again, but with this VR headset on, and if I die, I die.
I can see you there. Pressure's on, guys.
Fucking hate Palmer Luck. He's such a cunt.
I've never even heard of him.
So Palmer Luck is the guy. He founded Oculus before kind of John Carmack and Mark Zuckerberg got involved with it. And he hasn't been involved with Oculus or Meta for quite a long time now. He got bought out of it. He's really problematic because he's into military tech and he's
killing people,
private military. So yeah, he makes things that kill people. He does drone warfare for the US government. Like,
lovely.
Yeah, he's got $1 billion Pentagon contracts and shit like that for counter drone systems. It's just like, yeah, I saw this
DARPA chief, innit, from Metal Gear.
Pretty much, yeah. Like I saw this piece of news. That's fucking Palmer Lucky. That's about right.
What a name as well.
I'll be into it if there's a fleshlight attachment.
Fucking hell, mate.
What if it kills your dick? You get swallowed by a monster on the game and it swallows your dick fully. And you're dead.
Come back, Candy, please.
Next.
Like Candy isn't getting one of them.
Play it if it had Skyrim on it.
Okay. Doom Eternal composer has now claimed he was offered a 6-figure hush money payout over the OST disaster, which is the original soundtrack. Mick Gordon claims he was offered a 6-figure sum to take full responsibility for the controversy that came out about the release of the game's soundtrack. Gordon has alleged significant crunch in the development of the game's soundtrack. He claims that he was asked to provide 2 levels of scores a month, but audio teams were reluctant to approve the music as the levels were already complete. With the Doom soundtrack sticking closely to the player's actions, it was extremely difficult to commit to the audio whilst it was until late in development. He described months of work, exasperated by the outright rejection of some of the scores requiring 4 tracks. By the time the game shipped, Gordon says that he's delivered more than double the minutes stated in the contract, but wasn't paid anything extra. And then apparently it got worse as his collector's edition announced. And he claims he was which wasn't actually in production at the time. Bethesda allegedly told Gordon that he'd receive a bonus if he provided a 12-song soundtrack by April the 16th of that year. But before the deadline, his work was scrapped, replaced with a much longer soundtrack that Gordon considers wasn't up to standard. In an attempt to rectify the situation, Gordon alleges that he and Stratton agreed to a joint statement after he declined to take ownership of the mistakes that he claims were made by the moss holder. A draft of that statement never arrived.
So there's a bit more to it than that. Like I read so Mick Gordon put out the massive Medium post on it, and basically, he worked on Doom Eternal for 2 years, he was given a really tight schedule to get music done, but the problem is that the levels weren't complete. Some of them weren't even concepted out. So like because as you said, the Doom score is very reliant on kind of player movement and player actions, but also
it's emergent, isn't it? It changes.
Yeah. But also the
intense,
mood and
right?
vibe of the level. Like nothing was even blocked out, so he couldn't even see the shape of the levels, let alone the feel or tone of them.
It takes a good composer months to do one 9-minute soundtrack.
Yeah.
Months.
But
So to do 2 in a month is ridiculous.
Yeah, but things kept changing, things kept moving around. When they announced the collector's edition would come with a Mick Gordon soundtrack. No one had told Mick Gordon. He found out about that by watching the E3 live stream.
Jesus.
And the game came out end of March 2020. Mick got the contract to do because there was never any contract in place. So Mick said, "I'll do the soundtrack. Just give me a contract, and we'll organize the money, and I'll get it sorted." The contract wasn't delivered to him until 2 days before the game came out, which is why the soundtrack was delayed. But apparently, the whole thing is basically Marty Stratton, who was the creative director at id, is a massive dickhead and has basically been fucking Mick Gordon around for 2 years since the game has come out. Like constantly delaying things, not wanting to pay him. So like Mick Gordon delivered like 5 hours worth of music for Doom Eternal. He was only contracted to 147 minutes. All of that music is in the game, and he's not been paid for like the bit that he was told was rejected. And then the worst part of it was, so he agreed to do this joint statement with Marty Stratton about the soundtrack. Marty Stratton then, about 2 days later, went on to Reddit and just absolutely dumped on Mick Gordon. Did this like open letter.
Oh, you Reddit people
on the Doom subreddit, and it's absolutely just like proper dragged Mick Gordon through the mud. So this is proper fucking horrible drama. But yeah, Marty Stratton seems like he's just a massive dickhead.
Get him in the fire.
Yeah, I think it's probably good to put him in the fire. I feel bad for Mick Gordon as well, because he was saying like when he was delivering the soundtrack and stuff like that, like he was working 20-hour days, sleeping in his studio.
Oh, fuck that.
He missed it. He like spent a lot of time away from his family just to get it all done, and they proper overworked and then the soundtrack that was released was ultimately, there was like 12 Mick Gordon songs, which were fine, and then there was like 40 other tracks that the creative, the lead sound editor, which is Craig Mossholder, he just kind of like chopped up like the little bits and pieces of stems that Mick Gordon had put in and create a piece of music, but he hadn't like mixed it properly. Like he hadn't like crossfaded the samples, so there's like huge jumps in volume or like cuts where you can hear things rapidly changing. And
I bet your ears were fuming when you heard that.
Well, yeah, I've heard bits and pieces of it. It's fucking terrible. But it's because it's attached to Mick Gordon. Like he's saying, well, this is not the standard of stuff I put out. These are bits of music in game that were already mixed and mastered. You shouldn't put them together in a soundtrack like that. So yeah, he's not best pleased.
There you go. Bloody hell. Next.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. A handful of buyers of the God of War Ragnarok Collector's Edition have been reporting their copies have arrived without the digital PS5, PS4 download code they were promised. Instead, they'll be sent 2 lots of the bonus DLC content for the game that gives you snow armor for Kratos and Atreus. Since the Collector's Edition doesn't actually include a physical disc, purchasers have been left with one of the most expensive versions of the title, but are unable to actually play it. And also, apparently, purchasers of the Jotner Edition are also reporting issues surrounding the missing Steelbook as well.
Oh dear, oh dear.
It's fucking pathetic.
And this is following on from the Last of Us special editions that were released.
It happens all the time with these things, these big, massive tome editions, and then there's nothing in them.
You'd think there'd be
It's
some better.
sweet though.
You think there'd be some better quality control on something like that, wouldn't you?
You'd expect to, but no, they're not that special when they're mass producing 10,000 of them.
No, yeah, I mean, I've seen unboxings of the collector's edition. Like, it doesn't look that good. It's a plastic. It's a plastic hammer.
They never do. There was that special edition of collector's edition of Dragon Quest XI, and it had a slime in and everything, and it just looked cheap. Really cheap.
There are some of them that look like for all their faults, CDPR do really good collector's editions like that.
Yeah, the box is actually cool as well.
The bike V.
Well, the Biting the V for Cyberpunk or the Geralt with the Chimera.
Yeah.
They were really good.
Yeah. Hit and miss. Hit and miss. Pre-orders. Watch what you're doing.
I think collector's editions. Watch what you're doing.
Yeah.
What was the other one I saw this week? Oh yeah, the collector's edition for Hogwarts Legacy. Have you seen that one?
Do you get a broom?
No, it's fucking ridiculous. It's just it's a big box. It has the game digital download, whatever in it. But the actual collector's edition item is like it's a plastic spell book that you put on your desk. You plug it in, and then there's a plastic wand, and it's like an electromagnet that just holds it and floats. It's like 150 quid. It looks shite.
Stick getting it.
I don't buy it. Shite.
No, neither do I. I mean, it's just crap in it.
I used to get collector's editions all the time when they had nice statues in it, and I haven't bought.
I like
them
statues and stuff, and I like models and stuff. They're all behind me. I like to get the individual thing that I want rather than loads.
I mean, this floating wand, it's kind of novel, like kind of fits with the thing, but
yeah, for 150 quid.
Oh yeah, it's still like absolute tat.
No, it's a spell book.
Buy off Wish.com for 20 quid.
It might be a real spell book for all you know. Have you read the spells? Have you read the spells?
Well, no.
There might be incantations in there. Next.
Control 2 has apparently officially been announced. It's going to be coming out, not with a date or anything, but Remedy has said that it's on its way. I played a bit of the first one. I must go back to that.
It's excellent. I love the first Control.
Yeah, it's very good.
I did like the ambience.
Yeah, it really good ambience, really good style. I like the story. Hated the map. The map was less than useless. But other than that, it was fucking brilliant.
I liked it a lot.
I think Control 2 is going to be a while off because they've got Alan Wake 2 next.
Yes.
Aren't they linked or something?
They're in the same universe.
Yeah, same universe. There's a DLC for Control which has a bit of Alan Wake in it.
Yeah, so is Quantum Break as well. That's in the same universe.
Have some Max Payne's in the same universe?
Yes.
Like it's basically the Remedy-verse.
Yes, it's all in the same universe.
Just their
Maybe
way
not
of-
even the same timeline or anything like that, but they all exist.
It's just their way of like, if they ever want to do a crossover,
Yes.
it makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
It all exists under one banner. It's cool though. You should play Control if you've not played it. Definitely. It's cheap as well.
It's cheap. It's not very long either. You can beat through the
10
main
hours.
game. Main game's about 10 hours long. Unless you want to do all the challenges.
I would really recommend the Alan Wake DLC as well. Really good. Next.
Next up, we have classic UK show Games Master will be returning again in 2023, following a successful reboot in 2021. Although they've not confirmed whether Sir Trevor McDonald will return.
I watched one episode of it. I didn't really like it.
I thought it was alright.
And I like Rab Florence that hosts it. I like him a lot, but yeah.
He's no Dominic Diamond. He hasn't got that cocaine energy, has he?
No, not really. And that's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. I want him to
Who was
slag
the
people
famous,
off for not being able to do Sonic.
It was the famous astrologer from the first one.
Patrick
Sir Patrick Moore.
That's it, yeah. He was really clever.
He had no idea what he was saying.
He did not. He was coming up with game codes and stuff as well, wasn't he?
If you want to unlock the next zone on Zool, you have to press up, down, left. He's like, he ain't got a fucking clue what he's saying. Love
do,
it.
do you remember when, I think it was the last series of the original run when he stopped doing it and they got the game's mistress in instead?
Yes.
And he was,
when he was on the island.
Yeah, it was Jet from Gladiators.
Yes.
Was it Jet from Gladiators?
It was one of the gladiators, definitely.
Yeah.
I'd watch anything with her in it.
I was going to say that. Bring her back.
Yeah. Get her back.
Yeah.
Get her on the show. Next.
This was rumoured that there'd be a TV series based in the Indiana Jones universe. And apparently, Abner Ravenwood, the mentor for Indiana Jones, would be the main protagonist of the Disney Plus Indiana Jones series.
Everyone were calling out for this, weren't they? Nope.
Well, I've always thought, I mentioned it before about how there was the way it was ended, the film that doesn't exist. But there was a hint that maybe Indiana Jones would be taken on the mantle by somebody else. And I did wonder if they're going to do something with that because
It
they
sounds
get the
like
right person, the right script.
This is
It's
probably going to be
fantastic.
set in
It's
the
a
past.
prequel.
So.
Yeah, it's
Oh, it's
a
a prequel, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I don't care.
If it turns out that it's good, I'll give it a watch.
Yeah, everyone's like, "Oh, get Andor watched." I watched Andor. Don't like it. So
You're
try
the only person I've heard say that.
I know,
literally.
I know. I've tried. I've got through like 4 or 5 episodes.
I haven't
Boring.
started yet.
I do like when Disney Plus are trying these things, but Indiana Jones, I'd rather them just concentrate on making a good film first.
I think I'd rather them leave it where it was. The kind of shit the bed with Crystal Skull. I'd quite like.
Yeah.
Like the original 3 films, they work as a pretty well contained trilogy.
You know what
It
they're going
doesn't
to
need
do?
to be expanded anymore.
They're going to get Chris Pratt in to be Indiana Jones again. Start again, complete reboot.
Wait, hang on. I thought it was going to be actual Cannibal Shia LaBeouf.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, if the new film comes out, out next year, so we'll see.
Oh, no, we won't. I'm not going to pictures to see that.
Does anyone really want to see an octogenarian Harrison Ford do it?
No.
Swinging on vines.
Just going, I hate snakes.
That look in his eyes that says, I'm only here for the weed money.
Yeah. No thanks.
Into it.
Let it die. Let it die. Next.
Not
Come
chased
on.
by a massive boulder, he's chased by an orderly.
Come on. Next.
Sadly, some devastating news announced this week as the fantastic Kevin Conroy, the legendary voice of Batman in the animated TV series, the Arkham trilogy, much, much more, sadly passed away at the age of 66.
The Batman.
The Batman.
Absolute massive impact on my childhood as well. Like I said in our Discord, he made my love for comics cool again in the animated series.
He was definitely a lot of people's first Batman.
Yeah, because a lot of people didn't see the
Batman.
Michael Keaton film. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people not seen that and stuff. Because remember, back in those days, you had to either have the video or go to the cinema. So yeah, it was on in the UK at least Saturday mornings, wasn't it? And it was huge. It was a phenomenon.
Oh yeah, it was massive.
And it made like kids. I watched it with my stepdad. It made like kids TV watchable for everyone. And there were some good stories like The Heart of Ice and stuff like that. Just A Mask of the Phantasm is a great film.
I love the Arkham trilogy as well, and Mark Hamill was a very close friend of his as well. They naturally got on well, considering they were opposites in the game. Enemies.
Yeah, I think as well. Like more than anything, I think more than any person who has played Batman, whether it's been animated or TV or film or whatever, I think Kevin Conroy had the right voice for Batman.
He did.
Because I mean, given the fact he did so many different animated versions of him, but even when you see like other versions where he's not voicing Batman or Bruce Wayne, they're always trying to do something similar to him in the same way that a lot of people who play the Joker will try and do the Mark Hamill thing.
Yeah,
and I think that's what makes Kevin Conroy such a legend with it, because he was the definitive voice of Batman.
He even carried on being Bruce Wayne in Batman Beyond as an old Bruce Wayne. It was just fucking super sad.
And it pretty much is his voice as well. I saw a couple of interviews with him.
That's how he talks.
It's literally him.
Do you ever hear his 9/11 story?
Yes,
where he was volunteering at basically serving food to like the firefighters who were like cleaning up, and like it's like a couple of days after it happened, and everyone in New York is still sad and somber. And he's just talking to someone, and someone shouts from across the tent, going, "Is that Batman?" And he just does that. I am the night. I am the night. That's it. And it's in the Batman voice, and gets like a massive cheer. Batman serving us food.
Absolute legend. And I want to request Gadget to play out this episode with the animated theme tune.
Yeah, I think I can manage that.
It's the same as the films, the first 2 films, but it's still a great theme tune.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, please. Gosh, what a sad loss. Any more?
Yeah, well, one podcast is coming into an end, not like ours. My Dad Wrote a Porno apparently has finally coming to an end after 7 years, 6 series, and 2 sellout tours.
I've never even heard of it. Gadget had to tell me before we recorded what it was.
I fell off this halfway through season 2, and it was just the same stuff over and over again. I got really bored with it.
Me and Pip have enjoyed it kind of all the way through. I've kind of wavered on the last couple of seasons on it, but it's been. I think it's less the story itself that's funny. It's more their interactions with each other. Like I'm listening to it for Jamie, James, and Alice more than the actual story itself.
Did his dad actually write a porno?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can go on Amazon and buy them, the Belinda Blink books.
I don't want to buy them.
Oh,
It's just really funny. I hate to say it, it's a bit of a one-trick pony, like you say. It's the same kind of stuff as it goes on all the time. But to really get into it for the first season or so, at least, it is quite funny.
Oh yeah, I loved the first season, and then I got halfway through the second, and I was kind of like, "Where's it going?" I just got.
I mean, it does turn into a series of international spy novels with terrible sex in them.
Yeah,
Like, it gets surreal.
And do they just read them out or something?
Yeah, I mean, he's reading abridged versions of it out. So
Yeah.
But
And then they comment on what he said, because he can't. Well, he can write, but I mean, it's just awful. It's like a.
oh no, I mean, the guy clearly has.
It's in the title. Some bloke is writing a porno.
He doesn't know how a female body works.
Yeah,
Neither do I.
No, but like it's very evident where he describes things, and like, is it Alice? It's on there, yeah. And she'd just be like, "That's not how it works."
I think there was one line that always kind of sticks in my head where he's talking about one of the characters fingering another one, and it's like he's punching her cervix.
What? Are the two words throbbing member in any of them?
Yes, frequently.
Oh yeah, you got all of that.
That's always in porno books.
Okay,
He grabbed his throbbing member.
I'll give you one line from here, one quote from it that because it's one of these. There's loads of these 25 hilarious quotes, and my dad wrote a porno. But Oodles, just imagine someone sitting
I've got my
down.
hands in my pants.
Yeah, imagine someone just sitting down and seriously writing this couple of sentences.
Okay.
Again, he slowly entered Belinda's pussy. He felt like a man revisiting the house where he had grown up as a child. Everything was the same, but different.
Holy shit. I've got half a stunk on here.
It's not sexy the slightest. It's so real.
It's not.
I don't know, mate.
It's so mad. Is it the main character? Like, does she work as like a secretary or something for some weird
Sales
Spoiler alert.
pots and pans?
pots and
Yes.
pans company? It's just so weird.
I might give it a listen.
I did enjoy
definitely
the first series. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's very bingeable as well. You can get through the
It's
first
ended
series
now,
and
so
after.
we can take over finally.
Yeah.
Oodles
And
wrote
one
a
final
porno.
story. Oh, sorry. Go on.
I'm in the porno.
One final story from the weird world web. Influencer, YouTuber, author, and former star of TLC's 90 Day Fiancé, the star Stephanie Matto, has ended up in hospital after eating too many beans to sell her farts.
Yes!
She sold her jarred flatulence for $1,000 a piece and made over $200,000 in her 2-month venture while subsisting on a diet of yogurt, eggs, and beans, but ended up in hospital when she thought she was having a heart attack. What? She was making $50,000 per week in December through fart sales alone, eventually more than $200,000 worth of farts worldwide through her adult website, Unfiltered. But in January 2021, she was hospitalised for what she thought was a heart attack, and it turned out to be a dangerous build-up of gas inside her body.
I heard about
Is this
Sometimes
just being reported now?
No, I think he's just found a weird
For
story.
the listeners, I asked Biggie this week to spice up Biggie's breaking news and pick at the end of everyone just a weird random story that he's found on the internet, and he's delivered. I love that.
Fuck me.
That's brilliant. Keep doing it, mate. Every week.
I also think if you find a weird and wonderful one, then DM Biggie, send it to him on Twitter or
Please,
Discord. Yeah.
Yeah.
If
Don't tell us. Don't tell us. We like to get it on the fly.
Yeah.
Our reactions on the
If
show.
you find something really out there and stupid,
Bit of levity.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Is that the news then? Please tell me that's the news.
I can't top that.
No, you can't. Let's dive right into the Nexus. Stig, what you been doing, man?
couple of things. Well, I mean, I've been playing the big game, but I'm pretty sure that we're all going to talk about that. So
Peggle 2.
Yep. So we'll leave that to the
Two
the
Peggle,
end.
Two Furious.
But I went to see Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
Yes.
So I went to this on day one. This is the follow up to Black Panther.
For the listeners, there'll be no spoilers on the big game and on this.
Yeah, there'll be no spoilers in this. Just my thoughts. So yeah, this obviously follows on from after the tragic death of Chadwick Boseman, and we didn't know whether at the time whether we'd get a Black Panther sequel, whether they were going to recast him or what they were going to do. But they decided to go ahead with this film, and it kind of takes place in the aftermath of King T'Challa's death. It starts off with King T'Challa. He basically has a disease and it's incurable, and he dies. And the opening of the film, as you'd expect, is obviously a big funeral procession and tribute to Chadwick and to T'Challa, and it's a really, really beautiful opening. Like the opening to this film and the Marvel, when they do the opening with the all the characters and stuff that come up.
Yeah,
it goes Marvel Studios. They do that, and it's what they do for this time is just, it's really beautiful. It literally hits you like straight away. This, but the film itself, we're now following Shuri and Queen Ramonda in the aftermath of T'Challa's death, and at the end, if you remember, at the end of Black Panther, T'Challa kind of promised the world up. He opened up Wakanda and their resources and their technology and their health benefits to the world. Obviously, since then we've had Infinity War, Endgame, what happened with Thanos and stuff, and because of his death, this hasn't happened. And the rest of the world is getting a bit antsy about it. They're worried at Wakanda being the biggest superpower in the world, as the likes of the US and the French and
but they're
UK.
Isolated, aren't they, from everything? Because
they're not getting it. They think that they're under threat from Wakanda, and what basically conspires is that they have tried to find a way to get vibranium elsewhere. And in doing so, they have found it, but they've undone it by locating Namor's kingdom.
Oh, the Submariner.
Yes. And this sets off a chain of events where Namor goes to Wakanda and says, we are the two most powerful nations in the world. We have all these resources. People want it. We should team up.
Yeah.
And shit ensues. Like hijinks ensue. So this film has done it's a proper ensemble piece. This, so the likes of Shuri, Nakia, and Baku, Okoye, Queen Ramonda. It's all about their stories and how they follow on from the death of T'Challa. It kind of focuses on Shuri, but it also kind of has everything for the other characters as well. Queen Ramonda, Angela Bassett in this, she is phenomenal. Like, she gets a lot more to do in this film. And yeah, the word queen is quite apt because she is so regal and powerful and just commanding in this film. She's absolutely brilliant. And Letitia Wright is excellent as well. Them two just absolutely phenomenal in this film. And then the rest of them, everyone else is putting in a good performance. And you can tell it also feels like, when they're talking about T'Challa and they've got the funeral scene and other things, you can tell that they're not just acting. That there's real emotion there for Chadwick as well, and it really comes across on screen. And on the side of this, obviously, we also have Riri Williams, Ironheart. Her story is her introduction to the MCU, and also we have a bit of a side plot with Everett Ross and Val comes into play as well. If you've watched Falcon the Winter Soldier, and I think she's mentioned Hawkeye. Can't remember.
Black Widow as well.
Black Widow, that's it, Black Widow. Yeah, so she comes up in that. She's going to have a bit of something to do with like the Thunderbolts and all that further down the line. So there's a bit of an side story with that going on. That's where the film falls down for me.
Oh.
The side stories involving them.
You didn't care for it?
Didn't care for him, didn't need it. Took him out of the film. It would be exactly the same film, but all it's done is extend the lead time. This film is 2 hours and 40 minutes long. It feels too long. I've often said to myself, if a film is long and it warrants it, doesn't bother me. I'm not bothered. Doesn't bother me if a film's long. I'm quite happy to watch a long film. But I did find myself drifting away from at this.
When you're in cinema and you look at your watch and stuff, and you think,
yeah, I looked at the time a few times. There was a few times where I just thought, this is dragging a bit. We didn't need all this. I really liked Riri Williams, but it's Riri Williams, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it just wasn't needed. Like it's just, again, like these are planting seeds for MCU TV shows.
Yes.
I don't think this was a film we needed that.
No.
This was a film that it needed to be cathartic, and you needed a release after Chadwick's death. It needed to be something to celebrate that and to also move forward.
Yeah.
And it does that in spades in other areas, but it also kind of just makes the film drag because of these. So you could have just taken them out and I'd been happy with the film, and it would have reduced the time by about half an hour as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, and Namor, however you want to pronounce it, because
Namor.
They pronounce it Namor. It's literally pronounced different ways in the film.
Submariner, just call him that.
Yeah, he's played by a newcomer to the MCU, Tenoch Huerta.
Yeah,
he's really good. He's really good. He looks great. Like everything looks great in this film. All the set designs, all the costumes, all that stuff. You know, the kind of stuff that you saw in the first Black Panther. All of that kind of, it looks stunning. But he's also a bit he's really good, but the character it's not special. He's just an overpowered kind of mutant.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no.
He was always Marvel's Aquaman anyway. They just made him for that.
Yeah, and he is. He has now. He's kind of representing the Latino community in this film, which is great. I mean, that's wonderful. That's what Black Panther has done for their community, and for now he's got this representation in that, and that's really great to celebrate that. And these films have been really good at bringing that to the forefront. Yep. But as a character, he was just a bit. He's just mad at someone, so let's fight. Yeah, and I just didn't. He wasn't as good. He didn't have the nuance of like Killmonger.
I love Killmonger.
Yeah,
genuinely.
Killmonger.
I don't feel like he were a baddie. That's what
I mean,
I love about him.
He does some bad things, but
we've all killed a spider, mate.
But you kind of understand where he comes from. Like his plight comes from colonization and being left
subjugation.
Yeah, and being like kind of left by Wakanda to fend for himself after, spoilers for this film because of what they do to his dad. Like you kind of get that. Namor's just kind of pissy because someone found his kingdom.
Fucking hell.
He's a xenophobe.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a drop in pathos there, isn't it?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Exactly. And he's a bit pissy because, Wakanda, won't help. It's like,
I'm taking my ball home.
Yeah, it's a bit of that. And they do a good job of showing how strong he is and how strong his kingdom is. And when they do go to there as well, it looks stunning. And like, actually,
wait while you find out that Submariner don't have to breathe in space and he can swim in space.
Oh, he does come as well with his ankle wings, so he does.
Does he? Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Which look really stupid, but then when you see that when he actually fights and uses them, it's
he uses them as platforms, doesn't he?
It looks great, but when he's just stood there and they're just going, as he's like floating around in the air, like it looks a bit dumb. But yeah, I think it's not as good as the first one. It's a solid 3 out of 5. It's a good ending to the phase. It's the second best film of the phase, but that's not really saying much this time.
There's only 2 good films.
Yeah. I wouldn't rush to watch it again. I may watch it again down the line, but like I said, everyone's does a really wonderful job. It really does pay tribute to Chadwick a few times in the film, and the ending to the film is really beautiful, like absolutely stunning. And this isn't a spoiler of what happens, but I'm just going to let you know now. You don't need to stay to the end. There is no post credit.
Good. If it's 2 hours 40 minutes. Good.
No, but there's no. Now Marvel's MO is mid credit is set up for the next stuff. Yep. End credit is a funny thing. The way this film ends, no funny. You don't need it. It's just, and the mid credits scene is just. It doesn't set anything up. Anyone who has complaints about all they do is it's a big long trailer for the next film. It doesn't set anything up. There is a mid credit scene, but it is just. It's really good. And so, I have my issues with it. I enjoyed it, but unfortunately, it wasn't what I was thinking. After that first trailer, I just thought that first trailer I thought was excellent, and it looked like something new and different. But then it starts to fall into a few different MCU tropes, and it just couldn't pull itself out of that, even with
Let's
all
have
the
a
good
reset
stuff.
on next phase. Let's have a reset.
Yeah.
Mm.
So enjoyable enough, but I'm guessing if you're not really that arsed, I would just wait for it to come to Disney Plus.
In about 3 months.
Yeah, more than likely.
Yeah. Excellent. Anything else, mate?
Yeah, well, seeing as Candy's not here, I'll fill my time with something else. I'll just quickly mention The Bear.
Yes, I've been watching this as well.
A TV show on
Disney
Plus. It's fucking excellent.
Isn't it good?
It's so good. Like one of
20-minute long episodes. Boom.
Yeah, 20 to 30 minute long. They are. It's one of the best TV shows I've seen this year, and I think there's only 8 episodes, so you can fly through them really quickly.
Super slick, innit?
It tells the story of Carmen, or Carmi, as he is known.
Carmi, yeah.
Bizzato. And basically, he is a young top chef at the world's finest dining establishment, and he leaves all that world to take over his recently deceased brother's sandwich shop. And with that comes all of the kind of shit from the people who already work there, from his cousin, from some of the people who just don't like someone new coming in, telling them what to do, changing the way they worked. And while he's dealing with it, doing this, he's also having to deal with all the money issues that his brother's left, the estranged relationship he's got with his sister, and all this other shit just piling on top of him. It's just stressful as fuck.
Yeah.
So like, if you've seen like Boiling Point and stress in a kitchen, that happens a lot.
There's a lot of people being pinned up against wall and getting a slapping.
Yeah, a lot of people like infighting in the kitchen, and just a lot of him just getting sweaty and red all the time because he's just stressing so much. But
the sandwiches look good though.
Oh, but the sandwiches and the food look amazing, and it does find time every now and again to just kind of slow down. Every now and again, they sit down as a workforce and they have a sandwich, a family kind of get together as they call it, to prepare themselves for the day. But yeah, it's really, really good. The soundtrack is brilliant. The acting
I think it's special, mate.
It's amazing. Really like every episode is brilliant. And there is an amazing quote in episode 1, which I'm just going to quickly find because Gadget, you'll fucking love this.
Oh,
I think you'll love the show in general.
Yeah, I think you'll really like the show. But this quote is where is it? I had it up and then I've lost it. I apologize. So there's all these people waiting outside the shop for this like event that's the sandwich shop for this event that's happening, and they're all getting all rowdy.
It's a fighting game, isn't it? They've got a fighting
tournament going on. There's all these like people outside, and the real hothead cousin comes out and he stands there and he's like, and he shoots a gun in the end. He's like, right, all you incel 4chan Snyder Cut motherfuckers.
You're right, I do like it.
They do all look like that. Those kind of people.
Yeah. And I was just like, well, I think I remember writing it down somewhere as well. Like, just so that Gadget will love that line. It made me laugh a lot.
Into it.
Yeah, it's
a great show.
The show is excellent. I would recommend anyone to watch. Like I said, half an hour episodes, 8 episodes.
Boom.
Yeah, do it in a night.
And they've already said that they're doing season 2. So
yeah, excellent.
Brilliant. I'll go next. So I've been playing, obviously, God of War 2, but we'll talk about that in a little bit together. The main thing I do want to talk about is a fictitious show about a fictitious family that have fictitious hijinks around the world. But unfortunately, the press are always hounding them to stop them living their fictitious lives. I'm talking about Netflix award-winning show The Crown, Season 5. So, in this Season 5, we catch up with the fictitious Prince Charles and his rocky relationship with his fictitious wife, Princess Diana. And again, hijinks ensue. We're introduced to a new cast of characters playing these roles, with Dominic West as the fictitious Prince Charles and Imelda Staunton as the fictitious Queen Elizabeth II. I adore this show thoroughly, and this season pulls no punches whatsoever. If you've never seen The Crown before, again, it's about a fictitious family that run a fictitious country called Great Britain. And it's based on a fictitious real life. But yeah,
you tried to imply that this is not a documentary series.
This is not a documentary series at all.
It's apparently hasn't this season just like gone all out on the just
because I was saying my favourite scene, a fictitious scene, is when the fictitious Prince Charles has a cheeky tampon-based phone sex conversation with the fictitious Camilla Parker Bowles, and it cuts nothing out whatsoever. It's so fucking good. But again, it's great fictitious fun for all the family. I think everyone should watch The Crown.
All the family.
For all the family. Again, this is not real, and I'm not talking about politics at all. That's how you get away with it, guys. That's how you get away with it. That's how you get away. It's all fictitious. None of it's real at all. But
is anything real?
No. But yeah, The Crown is genuinely one of the best dramas on telly. And how they do it is every season's like a 10-year span.
Yeah.
And it's just
all of them have got like amazing actors in it.
Yeah, they're all incredible casts.
The cast,
For every season. When does it end?
Incredible.
This season.
It ends with the fictitious Prince Charles and the fictitious Princess Diana divorcing. Basically.
Oh, so about 1994, 95?
Yeah. A few years before a fictitious tragedy happens. So, yeah. It ends quite abruptly, actually. But yeah, as much as a lot of it is dramatised, they're not holding any punches of the fictitious real stuff that happened in real life, in fictitious real life. But yeah, But the other thing I want to talk about is God of War Ragnarok. Who else has been playing it?
Yep.
Wish I was.
So you're not playing it at all? Don't worry, we won't be spoiling, so feel free to jump in, guys. How many hours you guys rocked up at the moment then? What do you reckon?
I haven't managed a lot. I think I'm about 4 hours in.
Yeah, 4.5.
15 hours I'm in.
That sounds about right for you.
I started it yesterday.
I mean, you did do Elden Ring in a week, so...
Yeah. This...
Told you were skiving off work.
No, I weren't. I've been poorly, so I've been allowed to play it a little bit. I didn't play it at all on release day, because I didn't get it, did I? Fucking DPD. But yeah, the next day I didn't play it either. Yesterday I started playing it. Do you know what? I've got criticisms.
I have one criticism.
What's your criticism, mate? What is it?
It's just the same game.
It is.
Like it's what I've played of it so far I've really enjoyed, and the story is what kind of keeps me going along.
Yes,
but
the combat is the same.
It's exactly the same so far. But I don't really have a problem with that
does
really
change.
That's just kind of my only criticism that it.
I'm not going to spoil anything, but that does change.
Yeah,
it does spin it on its head a little bit. But the main issue I've got with it, this is the most backtracky game I've ever played in years. It's just
no, I don't like that.
It's super backtrack. I mean, that's however you want to play. You can just mainline this game and just absolutely go through the.
To be fair, God of War 2018 was pretty backtracky.
Yeah, it was. But this is because this is such a bigger world. It's even more backtracky. Like today, just before we started this, I did a main story mission, running through. I'm not even going to tell you the environment because that'd be a spoiler. Running through an environment and doing this mission for someone. Did the mission, thought, oh, God, that was tough. Then a side mission popped up saying, oh, come and get this. I had to run through all that same area I'd just been through in the same drip, but something else was slightly different. I was like, you've done this about 5 times now.
Well, yeah, but that's a side mission thing. Like so far, what I've done about 2 or 3 of the main story missions. But I've been pottering about in the kind of the first city area.
Yep.
Pottering about on the boot. Doing there was a couple kind of back to back of the side favors came up, and I've been doing them and quite enjoying having this kind of just little sandbox to play in.
Yes.
Oh, I love doing that. Like I literally comb every corner with.
You should do that. Trust me, you should do that.
There's landings that aren't side missions, and you find things. I did that in the first one. Like the first one is an open world, which I can get on with because it doesn't feel endless. It feels it's like a faux open world, isn't it? So it makes it feel like you can go places, but there is a definite kind of end to stuff.
The first game to me felt very much like an extension of like the original Dark Souls map.
Yes,
where it was an open world that was kind of concertining around itself, so you could go where you wanted, but it was a small path everywhere you went.
But that's the main gripe I have with this game. It's I don't know if you can spoil this, but it's open worlds now to the point where you can see the pattern emerging. You do some big story beats, you see that, and then it opens up again, and there's just this keeps happening. And I like it because it's great. And the combat now, to where I am at 15 hours in, surprises me. Like, continuously. I'm like, holy shit. Just when you've got used to something, holy shit. I've had about 4 or 5 holy shit moments. Like, they've done this. Oh my, it's blown me away. It's a proper 10 out of 10 game. You can't deny it so far. And it's not going to shit the bed. The story, the beats, and the beauty, because it's stunning. Absolutely stunning.
Oh, yeah.
And
incredible.
The voice acting, it's the best voice acting bar none. It's
the caliber of the actors they've got in.
It's
as well.
impeccable. It's absolutely impeccable.
I love just listening to them chat away.
Yeah.
When you're on your boat and you just start talking about stuff and you find out these little bits of chunks of history and lore, and it is based on real lore.
Yes.
As well.
Yes.
So you kind of start to get, find out about all these things that,
Is
might not have heard
Mirror
about before.
again? Is that his name?
Mimir.
Yeah.
Mimir.
If you're a big fan of Mimir as well, you get more.
He's there.
You get more of his backstory as well in this, which I appreciate massively. Like, I completely forgot that. Yeah, he says it in the first game. He's from Scotland. That's his. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was brought to, and he talks about Scottish myths. Then I'm like, oh shit, we're getting into this, and it's just. And these are just bits that you might not even see. These are bits when you're just on the boats. These are not story beats, but the favours are good because some of those side stories you get more in depth from the characters around you.
Within that first world, there is some serious side missions involving Mimir, and you find a lot out about him. There's one particular Gadget mentioned at Discord today, which was just
huge
right
moment
there in the fields.
Yeah, it is a proper huge moment, and it keeps doing this, and that's the only problem I've got with it is, like, I'm playing on the hardest difficulty because I'm just an idiot and I want to make it last longer. I am to the point now where some of that side stuff is just beyond my level because it does level cap you a little bit like an RPG. Yeah, you have an armor rating, don't you, at top?
It did that in the first one.
Yeah,
it does. It does. Yeah,
well,
and if you I'm doing some side missions now, and they're like level 6. I'm level 4, and you just can't kill them. You can't. You can't. So I don't know if that's a difficult thing or I'm just unlocking things that I shouldn't be unlocking yet.
I think it's probably a little bit of both. I think you kind of maybe going because the gate the everything is set up that you can go back to places and do things later.
Oh yeah.
So I wouldn't worry too much about that. But I'm playing it on. I'm not playing on the easy stuff because I'm playing on like the one just under normal because me and Pip are effectively playing it together. So I don't want to get stuck in things so she can enjoy the story.
You don't want her to be bored of you just fighting the same thing with massive health pools.
Exactly, yeah. But I'm absolutely loving the combat. I think I'm loving the writing more as well in this one.
Oh, it's so good.
Everything feels slightly wittier.
Do you read the lore logs? Because they're so good.
I tend to save up a few and then read them all at once.
Oh, they're so good.
There was one line quite early on, which because I mean Mimir brings a lot of the comedy to it, as do Brock and Sindri.
Yeah, but
the one line from Mimir that it's really early on. I think it's the first time you smash into a cave to get a chest, and he just pops up with his so we're now smashing things for joy and profit again.
Yeah. there is one scene that I really loved way later on from where you are. I'm not going to spoil why and stuff, but you're escorting someone, and that you turn left to go and find some treasure, and that person goes, "What's he doing?" And Mimir goes, "He always does this, brother. He's always going off and bashing into crates and stuff. He's always." I'm like, if I'd have not done that, I'd have never heard that. And there's one bit where I kept changing my weapons, and Mimir's going, "Every time you put your axe on your back, you're knocking my head." It's so funny. But yeah, it's a proper knockout 10 out of 10 game, but I think you pick up perfect things, don't you, more than you pick at like 7 out of 10s.
But the thing is, there is so much to be joyful. The art style and design is fantastic. Facial animations are off the fucking charts.
Oh, have you seen Kratos' quivering, his lip quivering and stuff like that? He's so fucking...
There's a full blown mascara warning moment in like the opening hour of the game.
Oh god, yeah.
And you see, it's the standard thing. Atreus is upset about something. Kratos kind of steps away from him. And it's the first time I've ever seen it in a game where they've just done those micro expressions to say that he's holding back tears. And it's just like, my God, It's like the animation is so good this time round. Like the technology's gone so far, it's nearly photorealistic at times.
Details in his beard and stuff, like it's just
you see
incredible.
the little individual grey hairs in his beard and stuff.
There's one
when the snow
scene
gets kind of caught in it.
There's one scene later, and I won't tell you context or anything. Kratos is just having a rest, and he takes all his armor off, and he's just having a sit down on a bed, and he just looks at his hands. His hands are shaking. He goes like that with his beard, and his beard moves into his hand like a beard does, and he wipes his brow, and I'm just like, how are they doing this? Like his skin follows his finger as he wipes his. I'm like, this is insane.
It's even stuff like his beard reacts to the wind now, which it didn't in the last game. And it's just that there is such a wonderful sense of detail in it. The lighting, the composition of everything, they're still carrying on with that single camera following Kratos and Atreus through.
Yeah.
And when it goes into cutscene, it goes into like handy cam, which is how they did it in the first game.
Yeah. It just spins around then, doesn't it?
Yeah, like Cory Barlog has absolutely outdone himself with the kind of the visual direction of it.
Oh, he's a master.
Is it the same voice actor for Atreus?
Yes.
A few years down the line.
He is. They do mention that as well.
Well, because he was 12 when he did the original one, and Atreus was supposed to be 9, I think, at the time.
Yeah, he's like 15 now.
He's like 15 now, so he's aged up into his voice.
And his voice keeps breaking in it, and they mention it as well. They keep going, the balls are dropping, boy.
They've managed to capture that awkward teenager look, like that phase where he's like
when he screams, he goes.
Well, no, but they managed to capture it again in his face and his design. Like, he's not quite fully grown, but he's not a little kid anymore. They've kind of got that 14, 15-year-old look about him.
There was one scene. There's one scene on the. It's just on that bit where you are on the boat. It depends how long you spend on the boat. And Atreus goes, "I think my beard's coming through."
Yeah, I've heard that line. Yeah.
Kratos goes, really? He goes, "Yeah, I think my beard's coming through. It's coming through." He's like, really? He's like, having a proper beard off with him. He's like, it'll be like yours one day. He's like,
There's lots more of Atreus and Kratos getting on as opposed to the first game.
Yeah. There is. They're not fighting anymore, are they?
Or at least as much.
As much, yeah.
There is more of the kind of father-son dialogue which works, rather than Atreus asking something, he goes, "Be quiet, boy." There's not less of that.
He don't call him boy as much in this, does he?
No, he actually refers to him by name.
Yeah.
And I know it will probably change the story goes on, Noodles, but how good is the way they've done the big bad?
Perfect.
It's just I love how
absolutely perfect.
When he first appears, I wasn't expecting what we got, and I definitely was not expecting the actor who's playing him.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
But when he comes in, it's just like, yeah, this is fucking brilliant. And
there is not a miscast person in this entire game, and I've met a lot of people in it now.
The guy who plays Thor is from Sons of Anarchy, isn't he?
Yes, he's OP.
Yeah, OP.
Yeah.
I heard that when I listened to him, I was like, I know that voice. Like,
yeah, he's doing a very Thanos voice though, isn't he?
Yeah, I love that scene where they meet in the beginning. It's really good.
Every person cast in this is sensational. Even like do you know some of the ghosts that you do the favors for and stuff like that?
Yeah,
some of them are famous people.
All right.
Not to Death Stranding's level.
There's no Jeff Keighley in this one, is there?
No, but some of them are like real people, and it's like, oh shit! And yeah, there's some characters that you haven't met yet that they're going to be on like DeviantArts for a long time.
Oh god,
to come. Trust me.
Yeah.
There's some.
It's excellent. Like I said, my thing was only a little quibble that to start with. And I know it will evolve throughout it.
It does.
You just kind of felt like it's the same, but then I just kind of thought, well, it's the start of the game. At least you're kind of carrying on from the first game, and you've got his axe and you've got the blades and everything, and it isn't just a case of, like so
you've
many
lost all
games,
your weapons.
you've lost everything. Yeah,
no, he's got them.
It feels like you're actually just carrying on from that game.
They've just made the baddies harder. That's all.
They actually do make a point of that in the dialogue as well, and in the kind of the opening little bit of the story. Where Atreus is saying, "Why do we have to train? It's the same every time." And I quite like that they have that, because all the gameplay you've had up to that point has been the same.
Yeah.
I have a theories as well. I posted them in a Discord where I think, from what I've seen so far, like where the story will end. or will go and what things might happen. So I'm interested to see.
I'm not commenting on your theories.
I'm not reading theories.
From what I've seen so far, mate, I can't because I know things already. Major things.
So obviously, not knowing the ending and stuff, I assume that again by the success of how it's going with this game as well, that there's potentially could be a third one. I guess.
No, they've already said this is the end of the saga.
Yeah. Oh, really?
The Norse mythology saga.
I mean, Kratos might appear again later down the line.
To Rome, aren't they?
Egypt. I've always said. Do you know,
Egypt,
remember on the first game when they were in Mimir's tomb and they were Egyptian things? I always thought, maybe we're going to Egypt. Sliding down a pyramid. Oh.
maybe they'll just send Kratos around like every belief system where it's a pantheon of gods. Yeah,
they literally could do, couldn't they? They said, right, let's send him to Italy. Let's send him to
Church
Egypt.
of Scientology. Let's go.
Send him over to China, Japan.
Yeah. Final boss has beaten Xenu into crap.
He is the ultimate atheist, isn't he? He's just a god killer. He doesn't like what he is, so he'll destroy them all. But yeah, it's a great game. 10 out of 10 so far. I'll have it finished probably by end of next week. But I'm taking my time with it. That's why I've put the higher difficulty on, because when I first started playing it, I was just smashing shit out of everything. I only played the original one this year as well, so still got those. Not first time, no, not for first time.
Oh, I was going to say, I thought I came to it late.
Oh, it's great. There was a moment yesterday, right before I saved it up and finished for the day, where it just something happens and Kratos just gives no fucks, and he's just it's almost an inconvenience, and he just kind of does just kill something, and you're just like, yeah, fucking get in. Yeah, you don't even have to. You don't even control it. You just watch him, and he's just like, rah!
Yeah,
going nuts. I love
Stigville, basically.
Good energy. Right, sorry, I've took over that. Gadget, have you done anything other than God of War?
Yes, I have. I've gotten about a third of the way through this week, and I kind of wanted to talk about it since I got it. I've been reading Garth Marenghi's Tome.
Oh no.
Which is, for anyone familiar, Garth Marenghi is a character by Matthew Holness, who is a horror author in the Stephen King vein. Who was
cocaine included.
Yeah. Or actually, as he describes himself, a dreamweaver, visionary, plus actor.
Plus actor. I love that, plus actor. If you need to contact me.
Yeah. He's as a character, he's depicted as a conceited hack writer who remains blissfully or even willfully unaware of his lack of talent.
He's terrible.
And so Garth Marenghi's Dark Place was out in like 2004, which was a spoof 80s horror show, full of kind of continuity errors and terrible writing and awful sound of blood. And lots of blood. And I fucking adored it. And it's been about 18 years since that came out, and Holness hasn't really done anything with the character since. There's been nothing else from it, and it was quite a surprise earlier this year when he announced that he'd actually written a book in Garth Marenghi character, and it's fucking hilarious. I mean, the subtitle on the front of the book is "Curl up with this book and die."
Oh dear, like that VR thing that's coming out.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, even the details are fantastic. Like the I'm showing the video. The way the book looks, it's got that weird, horrible, kind of slightly plasticky feeling that Stephen King books from the 80s have.
It looks like Dean Koontz and Clive Barker and stuff.
That's kind of what he's going for.
Yeah.
So Tome is a 3-part anthology of Garth Marenghi's design, and he's written in the kind of introduction as Garth Marenghi. It is important to know it is based somewhere around on the A78 in Scotland.
Yeah. Which services is that?
So he says in character in the introduction, I began writing Tome in the late 1980s, continued throughout the 1990s, and carried on deep into the early to mid 2000s. My grim vision of a world in which a horror writer's imagination literally leaks out of his head to wage supernatural war against unsuspected mankind was not just wildly visionary for the time, but is now judderingly prescient. Who knew that a reality would soon be upon us where every crazy thought or theory dreamed up by untold doom scribes, them, would possess enough potency and power in the minds of the terrified masses, you, to emerge, breathing and seething as grim hard fact. It's really, really funny if you get the joke. If you don't get the joke, if you aren't a fan of the concept.
Imagine picking it up not knowing.
Yeah, if you thought this was like a genuine horror thing, you would be sorely disappointed with it. So I've read the first of the 3 stories so far, which is called Typeface, which is about a struggling horror author called Nick Steele. Of course he is. The most handsome, brilliant horror author of all time, who writes primarily in the oeuvre of skin disease horror. He's been on a bit of a slump and he's having difficulty getting his true horror out there until he finds this ancient Egyptian typewriter that is possessed by a demon who opens up his mind and allows the horror to spill out while also having horrendous, awful sex with him. Yes, the man does fuck his typewriter repeatedly.
Like you and your keyboards.
Pretty much, yeah. But or you and your Gundams.
Yeah, bashing them into each other.
So, but yeah, so it's a demonic typewriter. This is, again, it's basically taking from the Stephen King thing. I want to read some passage from it because the whole concept is Nick Steele is supposed to be slightly autobiographical to Garth Marenghi. So it's characters writing characters. And in the lore of Garth Marenghi, he is like divorced with a wife, like his ex-wife hates him and stuff like that, and his daughters don't talk to him. So there's this bit in the opening of Typeface where he's trying to decide whether or not to buy this typewriter. The typewriter's calling out to him saying, "Buy me, buy me." So you get the "buy me," that voice again, whatever it was, wherever it was coming from. It seemed to be reading my innermost thoughts. It too wanted me to buy the typewriter. And the strange thing was, I now felt like I was being forced, ordered, and compelled. I quickly did the math. Despite my fame, I knew I'd be unable to claim ancient antiquities against tax. I've tried several times, but to no joy. Meaning I'd need to make savings elsewhere. If I ceased all alimony payments sent to my ex-wife to live in rented accommodation at her own expense, selling all my daughter's non-transportable toys, I might just be able to afford it without dipping into any of my own money. Given that Jacinta had yet to forgive me for press-ganging our daughter into an early proofreading career, it would hardly come as a surprise to her if I suddenly recommenced hostilities out of the blue. I wouldn't need to worry about any legal challenge either. Early on in my career, I refused to co-write anything with another human being, including my marriage certificate, for which I'd employed several pseudonyms. So any potential ex-wife would need to descend all 9 circles of hell in order to extract a single penny from my mounting fortunes. And if this typewriter was really the one I'd been seeking, those fortunes would soon be mounting even higher.
Always litigious, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the level of the writing in this one. It's not scary. It's funny. It's one of the few books that's made me laugh out loud frequently as it's gone on.
That was me when I read the Alan Partridge one.
Yeah. But yeah,
weird when you laugh out loud in a work canteen. You've got a book.
But I do have to stress, you need to get the joke. Like, if you don't know who Garth Marenghi is, or you've never seen Dark Place, or you've never seen Man to Man with Dean Lerner, or any of the kind of that era of British Channel 4 comedy, so like anything with kind of Richard Ayoade, or anything like the IT Crowd, or anything like
Nathan Barley,
like all those people who were kind of friends in the early 2000s and doing Edinburgh shows together. If you don't get that humour, you will hate this book. But if you like Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, you will fucking love this because it is perfect. Because that was the one thing that was missing from Dark Place. There was never any explanation of his books other than that little bit that he would read out in the intro.
I've got to wait till it comes in paperback though, because I like to take books with me. I can't take a tome with me.
I would have thought you'd have just got it on audiobook because it's Matthew Holness reading it out in character.
Oh, is he doing it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll do that then. Fuck it. I'll do that then, yeah.
He's back in the Garth Marenghi voice and that weird East End
accent.
If I'm reading...
brilliant. If I'm reading physical books, it has to be paperback so I can crease it and write. I like to write in them. I like to put annotations and stuff in them.
Yeah. Oh, he does make a point in the intro about not breaking the spine. It's bad for you.
Ooh. You should see all my Lord of the Rings, mate. They are tattered.
Yeah,
tattered.
Last thing I want to read out about it. It's just the in jacket synopsis. So it says, "Dare you crack open the teratome (brackets mind the spine). When horror writer Nick Steen gets sucked into a cursed typewriter by the terrifying Typeface, Dark Lord of the Prolix, the hellish visions inside his head are unleashed for real. Forced to fight his escaping imagination, now leaking out of his own brain, Nick must defend the town of Stalkford from his own fictional horrors, including a vascular necrosis-obsessed serial killer Nelson Strain and Nick's dreaded throppelganger, the Dark Third. Can he and Roz, his frequently incorrect female editor, hunt down these incarnate denizens of Nick's rampaging imaginata before they destroy Stalkford, out of Stalkford, and possibly slightly further? From the twisted genius of horror master Garth Marenghi, Frightener Man, Dark Scribe, Doomsage, plus Manshi, come 3 dark tales from his long-lost multi-volume epic Terror Tome. Can a brain leak? Yes, it can.
I'm into it. Big style. I'll get that on Audible on my credit. Is it available now?
Yeah.
I'll use my credit this month. Awesome. Brilliant. Thank you. Biggie. Done out.
Yeah, I've had a bit of a bigger week.
He's had a bigger week.
That's fine. Good, because we've been rattling on.
One thing I did do was, thanks to Game Pass, there's the new version of Spreadsheet Simulator is now out. Football Manager 23.
Oh, I wondered what you meant then. I was like, what?
I was going to say, weren't you trying desperately on Twitter a couple of weeks ago to get a code for that, and it's just hit Game Pass anyway?
Oh, yeah.
Of course you are.
I prefer to have it on Steam if I can. But yeah, it's...
Use a mouse.
Why don't you just use the Xbox desktop app?
Oh, I have.
That's to say, like, it's...
I think he means he prefers it on PC regardless.
No, but...
on Steam, I prefer...
Never
getting
mind.
it through Steam than having it.
Let's not confuse him. He's getting confused.
But anyway, but then my laptop died on me this week, so I had to go through fixing all that before our pod on Friday. Managed to get through that. I have been watching Cabinet of Curiosities.
Good, isn't it?
Really enjoying that, but our beloved Candid already covered that last week. But yeah, really enjoying that. I think I'm up to the viewing episode.
Yes.
I've only watched 3, 4.
I've seen them all now. Me, believe it or not, I watched it with the missus. Whew, I know.
Well, you
same room.
I actually really annoyed at myself because it was late and I fell asleep for episode 2. But the bits I caught, I was like, "This is my worst nightmare." Like small enclosed spaces and rats.
Yeah.
Rats.
And so I needed to rewatch it.
Yeah,
they're all really well done.
They're all really good.
Very,
They're
very
genuinely really good. And Candy is right. Guillermo del Toro is cute. When he rocks up at the beginning of every episode, he's so cute.
Yeah, his little shuffle, bless him.
Yeah, he's so cute.
His body doesn't look right.
No,
he just look off.
He looks like a ball, doesn't he?
I love that. It's the same when you play Death Stranding, and every time you see Dead Man appear.
Yeah,
because it's not his voice, but it's his body model, and it's just like it doesn't look right, does it?
No, he's just super cute. I want one. But yes, let's move on.
But just the last thing, really enjoying, as I mentioned, Game of Thrones. We're halfway through season 7 now and still enjoying it. And I think it's better watching it a second time around.
Are you going to jump into House of the Dragon after that?
Yes, we will.
Yeah. Just be prepared for a lot more talking in House of the Dragon after season 8 of Game of Thrones.
What's the actual story?
Imagine.
Oh, there's lots of story and it's good, but there's not so much teleporting. Let's just say.
Yeah, but you know what? I like the character depth. I like it when they go into the political side of the families. I think that's what made Game of Thrones really
There's
good.
There's a lot of round table discussions in
there is,
and that I appreciate.
I think once you get your head around who's who and who's related to who and all that kind of stuff, it is much more
It's more confusing in House of the Dragon because we've all got the same name.
Yeah, they've all got names that sound exactly the same.
Put subtitles on. Trust me.
But yeah, that has been my week, I'm afraid.
No, that's fine. Excellent. Let's move on to the main topic. So, last week, we were given homework, weren't we?
We were.
Oh, yes.
To listen to 80s albums of our choosing. I'm going to start proceedings off. I was given the Cactus album by Third Base by Biggie.
Sign your life on the X, your exit X over what you really get, a box of Newports and Puma sweat. Text feeds and frowns upon Emis to give up gas face and drinks from a thermos. Sub Rock could at you with a clipper, gas face giving, I beg to differ.
Pete, that was real tough, man, but I gotta get serious now. Hey, yo, Don, step to him again.
Everybody, MC Search.
Black cat is bad luck. Bad guys wear black. Must have been a white guy who started all that. Make the gas face. For those little white lies.
Now, admittedly, I've been poorly this week. I haven't given the album my full attention. I've only listened to it in full 3-4 times. And I'm really, really sorry, Biggie. And I don't like doing this, but I fucking adored it. I absolutely adored it. This has to be one of the biggest surprises this year for me. I'm only kidding. I've listened to it loads all week. I've listened to it all week, literally non-stop. It's sensational. So, I like it that much, I've bought vinyl for it.
What?
Yeah.
They've done 2 albums. There's another album as well.
Yeah, I know. I've been listening to that as well. I think Third Base is sensational. And yeah, the groundbreaking for having a mixed, diverse lineup, aren't they, as well? Especially in them days. But the only negative I've got with the album is just the skits. I'm not a skits person.
Yeah. No, they're not.
Nobody is, but they're not long. And the cultural clash between like the album sound and the lyrics, it's proper inspired. It's like jazz fusion meets NWA crossed with like 80s bombast. It's proper 10 out of 10 album. Like what's it called? The first song after the opening. That's literally one of my. Is it like what's it called?
Sons of Third Base.
I've got the list in front of me.
That's the one. That's literally on my playlist now. I have listened to it so many times. That's such a banger, that song.
I'm so surprised you really liked it.
It's just so good. It's just so fucking good. I did not expect it. I've played it that much in kitchen and stuff like that. She's been telling me to turn it off. Do you know what I mean? I'm so like happy that you've brought this to my attention because it's something I would have never even gone anywhere near. I think it's genuinely a 10 out of 10 album. I think it's sensational.
Well, that was the problem because they were such a good band, when like you say, when they came out, and then Sony released 2 albums and then split up, and they sort of only real hip hop heads would have heard of them. And Eminem actually referred to them in his speech when he got entered into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this week as well, and he referred to them as one of his inspiration. He did a long list, by the way. They weren't the only one on there. There was loads.
I can see it being an inspiration because obviously white rapper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But yeah, they were a big thing. They were in the group. MC Search, one of the rappers, he helped produce Nas's first album. So I mean,
he's so good.
They were in that group of big hip hop stars in the sort of end of the 80s, early 90s. And yeah, they lived in the streets and the ghettos and in the areas where they all came from, you know?
It's not like in your face offensive. They're not trying to break barriers. They're not trying to flip the table or anything like that. They're just trying to put good music out, and you can feel every single iota of the songs are just perfect, mate. They're perfect. It's genuinely probably one of the best albums I've listened to in the last 10 years. Genuinely. Wow. I'm not even kidding. It's fucking amazing. If you're not into it,
made my day.
I don't care. Listen to the Cactus album or Cactus CD, whatever you want to call it. It is borderline flawless. Apart from the skits, like I said, I think it's sensational. I don't know. It just clicked with me, mate. Straight away, I was like, whoa. That first song, I was like, whoa, okay. And I don't even like jazz, but this jazz fusion type hip hop bombast. Oh, yeah, I love it, mate. Thank you so much for bringing it to me. And I'm going to listen to your recommendations from forever now.
Everyone should.
It genuinely, it proper flawed me.
Gasface is very good. That's a very good.
Yes.
Track.
Yeah, it's very funny. That.
I've just been listening to Stepping Into the AM in the background.
Yeah, it's easy listening as well. I can imagine, like, I don't drive, but if I were driving and these songs come on, man, I'd be cruising. Do you know what I mean? In my whip. I'd be fucking having a good time.
Cruising in
honking my horns. Honking my horn at all the ladies. It's just...
All the fly honeys.
Yeah, it's just such a good album. Just listen to it, please. Listener, listen to it. It's sensational. Thank you, Biggie. Thank you very much.
I'm very happy.
Good. Gadget.
So I was given by Stig Top Gun, the motion picture soundtrack.
Great album.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yes! It's a sensational album.
So,
That's why I gave you this album, because all the rock albums, you've probably heard of them and know them all.
Yeah.
So I went for pure 80s cheese.
I mean, to be fair, you could have given me Alexis on Fire. I've never listened to their music.
Not from the 80s.
Not from the 80s.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Early noughties, them.
There would be very young boys just smacking plastic instruments.
Little sperms.
Anyway, Top Gun. I have no nostalgia for the film. I've never seen it. I don't want to see it because I don't.
That's why I give you it.
To make you want to watch it.
No.
There's no chance I'll ever watch it because I've got a flat ban on Tom Cruise stuff, or rather, just well, no, I just don't support anything I consciously know is Scientology based.
If Tom Cruise knocked on your door and said, "Hi," smiling, "Hi, I've broken down. Can I borrow your phone for some gas?" Would you be like, "No, Tom, close the door on him"?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I imagine you would.
And then it would just there'd be a comedy of errors that involve me ringing my dad, going, "Dad, Tom Cruise won't get out the closet."
He's running around the garden, full sprint.
Yeah. So yeah, I listened to this a couple of times. My main, I mean, it's some of the songs I already knew. So I already obviously knew Danger Zone because it's one of the most famous songs of the 80s. Same with Take My Breath Away. I knew that one.
Did it take your breath away listening to it again?
No, because it's one of the most overplayed power ballads of all fucking time.
It's great.
Fuck off, you synth bastard. That's not to say I disliked everything on it. So I really liked Mighty Wings by Cheap Trick.
Yes.
That's a great track. I didn't really like Playing with the Boys by Kenny Loggins because I think Danger Zone is kind of the peak Loggins, I think.
If you're listening to Playing with the Boys in the shower, it makes it better. It makes it a lot better.
The context of Playing with the Boys to the film, though, is what makes that song so
funny.
Good. Because it's them all like
the volleyballing.
Yeah, all like
oiled up,
playing volleyball.
I mean,
we're not gay. We're definitely not gay.
I assume that song would go with the homoerotic bits.
It's such a homoerotic film. It's unbelievable.
Pip sent me a TikTok which had the theory that it's like the film is actually about someone being in the closet.
It is.
And like
It's exactly what it is. Playing with the Boys.
So yeah, Lead Me On by Tina Marie is one of the most forgettable things I've ever heard.
I don't like that song.
So yeah, Take My Breath Away by... I'm going in the orders of the songs on the album now. Take My Breath Away by Berlin. It's just so overplayed. I know it's the classic. It's the love theme. But oh my god, I think the problem is it's just so... In the context of today, it's so heavy-handed in its theming. Hot Summer Nights by Miami Sound Machine. I like because I really like Miami Sound Machine.
Yeah, it's good.
They have good beats and good vibes. I really like Gloria Estefan's voice. So yeah, I'm into that. Heaven in Your Eyes by Loverboy is fucking dreadful. I hate it.
It's terrible. It's terrible. It's proper bad.
Through the Fire by Larry Green is forgettable. I like Destination Unknown by Marietta Waters. That was pretty good. I really, really like the Top Gun anthem by Harold Faltermeyer.
Good. I was going to ask you whether you actually listened to that as well.
Yeah. No, like
the anthem's really good.
Yeah, I mean, I knew the tune. I didn't know it was for Top Gun. Yeah, so I've obviously heard it somewhere before, and I really like that. And it's like that peak kind of 80s cock rock instrumental sound that I really like. The one Stick gave me actually is the expanded one as well. So there's some extra songs from the film.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so Sitting on the Dock of the Bay by Otis Redding is just an absolute classic. Like you can't say anything bad about that song. It's pure.
Don't even say anything bad about Otis Redding in general.
No.
Yeah.
Memories from Harold Faltermeyer. Another instrumental one doesn't hit as well as the Top Gun anthem does. I'm sorry, that one doesn't work for me. Great Balls of Fire by Jerry Lee Lewis. Again, it's an absolute fucking rock. It's a rock and roll classic.
Incredible.
You've lost that love and feeling by the Righteous Brothers.
You've lost the love.
See, these are tracks more that they sing in, because they sing around the bar as well, don't they? Great Balls of Fire and Love and Feeling. So they're not so much
in the film,
actual film soundtrack. So these have been added because they are sung in the film, but by
these
the characters.
Are bonuses.
Yeah, they're bonuses.
It's DLC, mate.
Yeah, and then there's another version of Playing with the Boys, which, given the context, it's the 12-inch version.
Chance it'd be a fine thing.
It's actually a better version of the song, actually, because it's more like I Want to Play in a Nightclub rather than like the kind of rock ballad that Playing with the Boys was.
What kind of nightclub?
the kind that you put leather
Blue
on
Oyster.
and go to in the 80s and do a lot of drugs in the dark.
Yeah, and smoking a lot of pole.
I think more than anything, I mean, despite the fact of what it's for, like, I don't really get on that well with compilation albums the best time, because I think compilation albums, especially based around films, they don't flow. They don't have there's nothing really linking the songs other than they were used in the same thing.
Yeah, it's because they're all designed separately, weren't they?
Yeah,
so there's no coherence to it.
There's no coherence, and they're probably in the order that you've encountered them in the film, but without having the film there, they don't have that connective tissue to them. So it's kind of disparate to listen to it. But far too many of the songs were fucking power ballads. For a film like fucking Top Gun, I want more kind of like rockin' tracks. Like, you got to start with Danger Zone and Mighty Wings. Those are two great openers for an album.
You know Stig's Monday morning gym playlist is power ballads. Full whack.
Oh, this
up to 11.
I do love a power ballad. I swear, after I'd watched Top Gun Maverick, I was just into 80s power ballads and 80s music for a whole week. Just like straight away, like I said, the first thing I put on after Maverick was the soundtrack and all that. It was just Danger Zone and Playing with the Boys, like just singing that in the car on my way home from the cinema.
Yes.
Yeah, like I say, I liked a few songs on it, but it's not like, again, because I have no nostalgia.
Did you not buy the vinyl then?
No, I didn't. Because I've got no nostalgia for the film and I've got no desire to see the film. It's not something I would listen to as a compilation. I'm sure the songs all work in situ in the film itself, but
yeah.
I mean, especially, I fucking hate Take My Breath Away. It's so over fucking done. Oh my
Next
god!
Next karaoke session, guys.
Wasn't it number one for forever as well? It was just there.
Not as much as Bryan Adams.
No,
was it?
Yeah, it wasn't as much as Bryan Adams, but yeah. So, I do like Danger Zone. And actually, I still think the best version of Danger Zone is the one they did for Archer. Well, they did a country version with Cheryl.
Did they?
Yeah, it was with the voice actress who plays Cheryl and Kenny Loggins. They got Kenny Loggins involved with it as well. It's fucking great.
Honestly, I think I've said this before. One of the best moments for Danger Zone was a GTA 5 mission where you have to steal some jets off a boat.
And it starts
as you're driving the jets away to where you need to go store them, it starts playing Danger Zone.
Does it?
And you get, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So, what would you rate it out of 10, mate?
It's like I liked 5 tracks on it, so 5 out of 10.
Perfect.
I'm not even mad. It's not even one that I'm precious about. I just had to find something.
He's just glad that you sat there listening to it.
I think at some point I'll probably learn how to play the Top Gun anthem on the guitar, because that is a really good piece of music that I really enjoyed. That.
It is.
Really nice guitar work on it.
Excellent. Biggie?
Yeah, well, there's a reason why Candy and I will never be together. Is I've been given another product that I hate. Is Motley Crue's album, Dr. Feelgood. Yeah, thank you, Candy.
He's the one that called Dr. Feelgood. He's gonna keep on all night. Something like that, innit?
What?
Yes.
I don't think that's a lyric, Dr. Feelgood.
Well, it is today.
It starts. I thought it was going to be like a themed album because it starts with
mate, it's Motley Crue. They didn't have any brains.
It had
there were more drugs than anything.
Yeah, Hospital Tannoy come on and it says calling Dr. Feelgood. Can you know this kind of thing?
It's not a concept album, is it?
No, it goes into Dr. Feelgood, which is a perfectly fine rock track. And that was about it, really, for the theme. The next track was a bit more interesting, Slice of Your Pie. I don't think enough songs about desserts are discussed. I think it's
definitely
it's not about the pie. That's not the pie they're talking about.
It's definitely about cuisine, isn't it?
It is. It's always about cheesecakes and pies. I think
You should go listen to Warrant and Cherry Pie.
But yeah, Slice of Your Pie is exactly what it is. It's one of those songs. That then went into Rattlesnake Shake, which was actually quite a good
Is that about
track.
snakes, do you reckon, then?
Yeah, snake catchers. But then it really gets completely dated at the in the middle with the guitar riff. And, I love the fact that, like in hip hop, they say like drop the beat and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In rock, they go guitar, and then someone starts playing the guitar, and then you get the synth orchestra in the background as well, which is awful. Completely dates the album. It's an 80s album at that point. And speaking of which, the next track, Kickstart My Heart, which apparently was a song inspired by bassist Nikki Sixx having an overdose as a paramedic. Oh, sorry, yeah, Nikki Sixx.
Nikki Sixx.
Who had an overdose, and a paramedic had to inject his heart with adrenaline. But there's a bit of Pete Frampton style whoa with the guitar actually saying the word whoa.
Yeah, Mick Mars uses a talk box on it.
Yeah. And then you got, Your Power Ballad, Without You comes in next. I hate ballads with rock. Just, skip. Same Old Situation, which is a weird song because it's all about lesbianism from what I gather. And not in a good way. A really sexist song about that. Moving on from that, it was Sticky Sweet with the brilliant lyrics. When she calls me up, my voice, it starts to shake. She comes right over right away. Oh, good God, there's a fire in my pants. Pretty much sums up that one.
Bards of our ages.
Nearly finished. Don't Go Away Mad, Just Go Away. It was apparently a song inspired by a line in a film, but they couldn't remember which film it was in, so that's all I know about that. And then Time for a Change is the final track on the record, and it's basically them wanting to be like some Band-Aid wannabes about trying to bring change to the world and revolution and all this kind of stuff. I will admit it was a better album than the Bon Jovi one.
Bullshit.
Would have been something. If I was into rock, I probably would have listened to this, I reckon.
I mean, to be fair, I agree with Stig. This album
is
not better than the Bon Jovi album.
For me, it was.
It's not at all.
I like looking at these 80s things on Spotify because it shows you how many times the songs are played. No one listens to this album. Like Slice of Your Pie.
Apparently, it's a big hit, though, wasn't it?
No, the album's a big hit, but Slice of Your Pie has 6 million listens. Sticky Sweet has 8 million listens. She Goes Down 7 million listens. Kickstart My Heart has 432 million listens, and Dr. Feelgood has 172 million listens. Like, people just listen to the singles.
Yeah.
There's one quote I read somewhere where producer Bob Rock found working with the crew difficult, describing them as 4 LA badasses who used to drink a bottle of wine and want to kill each other, which I thought was probably nowhere near what they got up to, but I thought that was such a weird comment.
Never forget, Tommy Lee steered a boat with his dick. You need to respect that. Got that on video as well.
Yeah, Motley Crue were famously very difficult to work with in the studio.
Oh, they're horrible. They were just like spoiled kids, weren't they?
Well, yeah, because they were rich kids of rock, weren't they?
Yeah.
And they'd been around the LA
Sunset Strip.
Yeah, they'd been around LA for a long time. They were known for partying hard. They partied harder than like Guns N' Roses did. And they were just an absolute nightmare to be around at all times in the 80s.
Yeah. Like Nikki Sixx died about 4 times. One of them killed somebody else. Tommy Lee steered about with his dick.
You're obsessed with that.
Yeah, Mick Mars was just a crumbling man from day one. He had some kind of
he's got a
disease, hasn't he?
Neurodivergent disease? No, neurodivergent.
Yes, he's got something, hasn't he? It's like brittle bones or something, and he's still playing guitar today, even though he's like a husk.
The funniest thing, Big, if you go on TikTok and look up some videos of Motley Crue performing recently. Oh, they're bad. The singer.
Vince Neil's terrible. Vince Neil. He's worse than Axl Rose.
Oh my god, that must be bad.
No, honestly, it's
recently.
really funny because he's clearly completely lost his voice. He's just kind of screeching the words.
Yeah.
But then you've got Mick.
Because he's got quite a high-pitched voice.
He's got a high-pitched voice, but he can't hit it anymore. So it's like his voice is kind of cracking and breaking all the time. But then you've got Mick Mars there. Mick Mars I'm sure he's been clinically dead for the last 13 years. But
he's like a revenant. He's just...
Mick Mars is kind of ill and has, I think it's either brittle bone syndrome or some kind of motor neuron disease. He's just kind of stood there like this tiny, thin little waif of a skeleton holding his guitar, still playing it all perfectly. Like he's still really good at the guitar, but they're still wearing like their 80s spandex and stuff like that. And you're looking at them going, no, mate, just take your money and go. Take your money and go.
They're not skin, are they?
No.
I weirdly prefer this album to the Bon Jovi one. So
what would you rate it out of 10 then?
I can't remember what I did the last one, but let's say
69 out of 10.
4 out of 10.
That's worse than the Bon Jovi one.
Yeah, I'm sure you said 6, didn't you? Something.
Well, I'll put it higher than that one. So if that was 6,
no.
Wait, you're giving Dr. Feelgood
I can't remember.
7 out of 10. That's ridiculous.
But there you go. Yeah, I preferred it to the Bon Jovi one. That's all I can say. But I didn't.
All right, okay. How many of those tracks made it onto Biggie's rock playlist?
Yeah, exactly. None,
exactly. And 2 from Bon Jovi made it onto Biggie's rock playlist. So I think I'll count that as a win.
It's a win, mate.
Right, Sherlock fucking Holmes.
You know he writes everything down.
Memory.
He writes it all down.
I have a good memory for absolute useless shit. Nothing that's going to get me ahead in life.
No.
My friends often ask me, how do you remember this shit from school? Don't know, but I wish I remembered the good stuff that would actually earn me more money.
Yeah. So, Stig, you got
1984's Welcome to the Pleasure Dome by Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
Yeah.
Looking forward to this one.
This is probably the most 80s album.
Yes, that's why I picked it.
Right, so I kind of gone through track by track. Again, like similar type Biggie, I've got notes. So the opening track is weird, and not really in keeping with the rest of the album. To be honest, there's opera singers, there's random laughing. It's a weird opener, but then it leads on to the next track, right? Who the fuck starts their album with a 13-minute and 40-second
Frankie Goes to Hollywood, baby.
Right, where a minute and a half of it
jungle music
is fucking birds in an aviary. Honestly, I thought when I listened to this, I was like, because I knew this had like relax and stuff on it, but when I was listening to this, I was like, what the fuck is Oodles giving me here? Like, it's just... After the first couple of minutes, it kicks off into what you know of Frankie Goes to Hollywood. If you've heard Two Tribes and Relax and all that, it starts like that. But then within all that, it's just a lot of instrumental. It's a shit track to start the album on.
It's not.
It is. It's fucking terrible. I've listened to this album about 4, maybe 5 times. I haven't listened to that track more than once because ain't nobody got time for that. That's all I'm saying.
To the Pleasure Dome.
It's
long way from home.
It's shit. It's a shit up. There's no need for your opening track of an album to be 30 minutes and 40 seconds long.
It's bombastic.
Anyway, no.
Stone Roses, didn't he do that with The Second Coming? That was about like a 9-10 minute track as well.
Meatloaf, every track.
Yeah, you can get away with it if all your songs are like 10 minutes.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
You listen to a
Dream Theater.
Yeah, listen to a Dream Theater album. The first track's 13 minutes. That's fine because the next track is 17 minutes. You don't care so much for that.
Yeah, you know what you're going in for, but this was just like, I don't know what they were doing.
Continue.
Next track, Relax. Obviously, it's a tune we all know. It's a banger. What more can you say about it?
Were you lifting weights while listening to it? Please tell me.
No, I didn't go to gym one. Listen to this in the gym. Then onto their version of War, which I was really into this. Really like
Good, innit?
Yeah, I like the opening and with it kind of extended and echoey kind of word, like the way from the lyrics from the song. Then suddenly it changes pace. It throws in some bongos, a wooden block. You got a funky bass line, a piano. Like it's so funky, like that. It's like you can see it now. It's an 80s buddy cop film from the 80s, and it's a city skyline, and the camera's like panning over the city.
Over the Hollywood Hills.
Oh yeah, it's like yeah, it's like it's pure from
Yes,
I really like that, and then I really like the spoken word stuff in this, in between all like the actual singing.
Yeah,
like, where he's talking about love and war and culture and stuff, mixing that. I was really into that. Like it's a really good
version in it.
Yeah, it's a really good like remake of that song. A really good cover. Two Tribes, another one everyone should know, really. And
it got a sensational intro to that song.
Oh, yeah, the Two Tribes is brilliant.
There's a 12-inch remix of that, which is really
there is. It's so long. As you can imagine.
I'll stick to the radio edit. Yeah, that's another one. Another great song. There's not much more to say on that. Then suddenly we're treated to a piece of classical music. And a man talking about orgasms and ejaculation.
Yes. Just told you it's a gay album.
Just 35 seconds where it just talks about orgasms and ejaculation, then moves on. Like
you're in the pleasure dome, mate.
Nothing's happened.
Sounds like my sex life.
Maybe it's telling. Yes.
And then we're about the midway point here, and I really like this. All of a sudden, in the middle of the album, it all slows down, and we get a cover of Ferry Across the Mersey.
Yep.
And then boom, straight into a cover of Born to Run.
I'm listening to the Born to Run cover right now. I didn't know they'd done this. It's really good.
It's really good. It's a really good cover.
It's sensational.
And then it's followed up by a lovely cover of San Jose. Like all of a sudden, you get this triple whammy of covers slap bang in the middle of the album. None of them sound like any of the other tracks. None of them have that synth like pop music that Frankie goes to Hollywood.
Just quality covers,
just really good covers. Like loved it.
The Born to Run covers to me sounds more like it's more like new wave than anything, isn't it? Than the kind of synth pop they were doing.
Do you know the guitar solo in that? And the saxophone solo in that? They do it with like a slap bass. It's so good.
Oh, there's a lot of slap. There's a lot of funky bass in this album.
Yeah, there is.
Really good. Yeah, including this next song, Wish the Lads Were Here. Another funky song, proper catchy.
Yes,
Ballad 32, skipped it on re-listen. 5-minute instrumental.
Yeah, I like it.
Crisscross Kisses. Another fun track. Gets your shoulders and your hips moving. I was dancing around to this.
Yes.
Love the bit where it's like, crisscross kisses. Like that bit right near the end. Brilliant. Like, there's a lot of these tracks I was like kind of cleaning around and doing stuff and kind of dancing around a bit and bumping and grinding next to Kate.
Did you have a pinny on? I'd like to see you in an apron or a pinny.
No, but I had the music on and I was giving like Kate a good butt bump. Like,
Did you have a t-shirt on that says Frankie says relax like a crop top? I'd love to see you in that, mate. With navel out. Oof.
Black Knight, White Knight. It's a bit dull. Not much to say on that.
It's my least favourite one.
Yeah, The Only Star in Heaven. It's okay. There's a tune about 3 minutes into it. It's a sample I've heard elsewhere. I don't know where it's from, but I've heard it on film or TV. If you go to about 3 minutes 10 into that song,
was that Only Star in Heaven?
Yeah, you'll hear this kind of this sample. I've heard it on like something
Game
before.
shows.
No, like a film or something.
Maybe they invented it and they've took it.
No, I think it's been used on a film. I think it's been sampled and put on a film before, and I have no idea what film or where I can remember it from, but I've definitely heard.
Maybe it is theirs and they've just
I've never
film, like you say.
I've never heard this track before, but I was listening to that, I was like, I know this tune, I just cannot place it. And then the album ends with Power of Love.
That sound.
Yeah.
I think Mark Ronson's used it a few times.
There you go.
Could be.
I'm sure it's on one of Mark Ronson's songs.
It's definitely been sampled somewhere and been used in a film. I just can't place it. But yeah, Power of Love. After such an upbeat, vibrant, and funky album,
it's a strange ending, isn't it?
To end it on a haunting and beautiful love song is really brave. I love this song. I think it's fucking outstanding.
It's a great ballad.
And it's not a Christmas song.
No, that's just John Lewis fucking putting it into their album, into their advert.
It was released at Christmas, but it's not a Christmas song.
Power of Love is outstanding. I think it's an awesome song. And like to just end this album that's been full on like weird and funky and all over, a little bit all over the place. I think it's a great song to end it on. There isn't like an outro instrumental called Bang. It's like a minute long. It's not really nothing of note. So
not worth it, is it?
To me, I'm kind of like, I'm thinking the Power of Love. That's the perfect end. They didn't really need to put Bang at the end. But yeah, like,
I think that was a thing with a lot of 80s bands where they would end on it on like a big ballad. That was definitely a trend with 80s albums for a long time.
I remember watching a documentary and Holly Johnson, the singer, he was like, we have to end it on Power of Love. We have to end it on Power of Love. And he put his, I mean, the band didn't last long anyway. I think they only did 2 albums.
They only did 2 albums. I was surprised by that. I was looking at looking them up and I was like, well, you've got their 3 biggest hits on this one album.
The proper fell out anyway, but he put his foot down and says, if we don't end it with Power of Love, I'm done. So I think it's worth it. I think, like I say, it's a brave step.
Yeah, really good. Overall, 8 out of 10, mainly just because that first 2 out tracks, absolute shite, and there's a couple of dull ones later on, but, you know, majority of the tracks in this are brilliant.
And it's so 80s as well.
Oh, so 80s. There's so much synth and so much like funky beats and whatnot. Like I said, there's so many of these tracks where you could just see it being played over some like Beverly Hills Cop, like while they're just, you know, doing pan shots of the city or following them in a car. It's just that kind of music. Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. It's a long album for 1984. It's 64 minutes long.
Yeah, that's because they have a first track that's 13 minutes long, Gadget.
It's a great song. It's a great song. Absolutely great song. The radio edit's better though, yeah.
That one I'm not bothered about listening to again, but there's other ones on there that I would listen to again.
Did you like, I thought you did mention it, the Liverpool connection, Ferry Across the Mersey, because they're a Liverpudlian band. It's a nice little cover of that, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's a lovely little cover. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, it just all of a sudden just pops in there after these kind of big loud tracks, and it's like a nice little
if you thought the album
intermission.
Was weird, you should play the video game. Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
Yeah, please.
Is there a video game?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
On
just
the 64.
as weird. It's just as weird.
Commodore 64, my son.
Yeah, not Nintendo 64.
Is that just like when they used to make video games of everything?
Yes. Like when they did a Moonwalker game. I'm glad you did like Pleasure Dome, because it's like, again, like I said, probably my top 3 80s albums. I just think it's quintessential. It's almost a one-hit wonder because the second album didn't do much anyway, and they were on the way out regardless. And I think, like, Frankie Says Relax is one of the slogans of the 80s as well. That's still to this day, you can still sometimes see someone with a t-shirt that says that. It came back in vogue a few years ago again, didn't it? And played GTA Vice City. They've all got those on. It's just, I think it's great. I'm glad you liked it. Brilliant. I'm glad you weren't let down. But Candy was given a
masterpiece,
album
wasn't she?
Gadget.
I gave her one of my favorite albums of all time.
Oh wow, I didn't know it was that strong.
Well, yeah, because I gave her Passion Warfare by Steve Vai, which is an album I absolutely adore. But I did give it to her as punishment because it's a guitar instrumental album.
Stigma light.
So although she's not here tonight, she did write in. It says, "Let me paint you a picture. It's dark and cold night. I'm on my way back from Birmingham. Panicking I won't make it home for the recording. NEC traffic is mounting, and Googly Maps tells me there's a delay on the motorway. The stress is mounting. The pressure is on. I think to myself, I better put on that album Gadget recommended for me. That album was Passion and Warfare by Steve Vai, in what I can only assume is penance for making him watch Verotica last night. A film I still firmly believe is in cinematic genius.
No.
Or wrong, Candy. What followed was an hour of the most self-indulgent fret wankery I've ever encountered, smattered with the occasional inexplicable baby noises and the sound of cocaine being inhaled.
Yeah, perfect.
Now, don't get me wrong, I can absolutely see the talent shining through in his guitar playing, and there's the occasional hook, but my God, he insists upon himself. I understand that guitar music without a singer is very much like Marmite. I'm not a musician, and for that reason, I'm sure a lot of the intricacies of what he's doing are lost on me. But I have listened to and enjoyed John 5's solo album, so it's either flown so far over my head that it wouldn't be able to hit me if it shat at me, or the album is truly garbage. I will say that I've never considered intentionally crashing my car before, but at one point death did seem like the easier way out.
Wow.
Also, if Gadget is reading this, I didn't make it home in time.
Wow.
9 out of 10.
I think she liked it. Wow. What are your thoughts on that album? You love it, don't you?
I adore it. I think it's brilliant. But
I think it's a good album.
Yeah, again, it's
some good bangers in there.
Again, it's one of those things that you kind of need to be a musician to appreciate it. I think it's a bit much to say he insists upon himself. It's his album.
Yeah, called Steve Vai by Steve Vai.
Yeah.
What's the album called again?
Passion and Warfare.
Passion and Warfare, yeah. What's the big hit from it?
For the Love of God.
That's the one, yeah.
Which is the big ballad one, yeah.
Yeah,
there's The Audience is Listening, which is an absolute banger where he's playing he's got like a kid version of himself making a noise in the classroom. He got his actual English teacher in to shout at him.
Yeah, fun fact as well, it's Brian May's favourite album of all time.
Yeah, it's a really, really fucking good album. There are a couple of tracks on it which, again, I find, I think it's Ballerina 1124. I don't like that one because it's just high-pitched noise. But
yeah.
But I can hear what he's doing with it. I understand what he likes.
Is he self-insisting again?
Sometimes.
I think he is.
Ballerina 1224, actually.
I think of that Family Guy joke when he says that, when someone says that.
Alien Water Kiss as well is not particularly good. The funny thing is, though, so I have the transcription book of this album because at some point I thought, hey, I could learn how to play Steve Vai. No, I fucking couldn't.
No, you can't. No, you can't.
Alien Water Kiss is made from samples and random noises. The transcription of it is just artwork done with the staves.
Oh, wow.
Because it's impossible to play. It's not something you could play. So it's really, really sweet. But yeah, Passion and Warfare is great. It's fucking, damn it, Candy, you're wrong.
You gave it to the wrong ears.
Also, if it wasn't for Passion and Warfare, you wouldn't have Korn. So makes sense. And the reason for this is so Steve Vai was in the early to mid 80s when he was playing with Alcatraz. He became an artist for Ibanez, the guitar manufacturer. And he was one of their experimental artists. He kept kind of pushing their custom shop to do different things, try different things, make something new I can make new sounds with. And he pushed them to. He was weird about the limitations of the guitar because it's 6 strings, 24 frets. He said to them, "Could you make one with a 7th string?" And he tried it out. So they put instead of having the high E string, he had a high A string, but it kept snapping. So he says, "All right, make it a low B string." So you get the lower tuning on it. And that's what he used on Passion and Warfare. And the Steve Vai Universe became the first commercial 7-string guitar you could buy. And Korn used them. Now, they were made in a limited run. Head and Monkey from Korn bought them. And it got to the point where Korn got big. They needed basically touring guitars. They each had a 7-string, but they needed touring guitars. They had to actually go to Steve Vai and say, "Will you allow Ibanez to make more of these guitars so we can have more than one to go on a world tour with?"
Plus, halfway through the Steve Vai song, he goes, "Are you ready?" And he goes, he does that.
Yeah. If it wasn't for Passion and Warfare, Korn wouldn't be a thing, and a lot of kind of heavy metal.
That would have been a good thing.
Yeah,
that would have been a good thing in my opinion.
You don't like Korn?
Fuck God, no.
Oh, fuck you. Korn are great.
I don't like Korn. Oh,
better than Limp Bizkit.
Lump of knobs. Yeah, everything's better than Limp Bizkit. What the fuck? Everything. Brilliant. So, we have got no feedback because
we didn't ask for any.
We didn't ask for any, and how could the feedback on excellence? So, as always, links to all our extracurricular activities are in our show notes and at modernescapism.co.uk. Please consider becoming a patron to help support our endeavour. Next week, it's Patron's Choice.
Oh no.
Bum, 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 bum. So if you are a patron, please tune in to your patron feeds and find out what you will be able to vote on. 80s themed, obviously. Please be gentle. The last pick was quite fun, I may add. The Halloween one that they did.
Yeah.
Yes.
And off the back of that, Gadget has now a deal with Aardman Animation.
Nick Park was a little bit disturbed by my ideas, but he's putting them into place.
Yes, definitely doing it. So it's going to work. But yeah, as usual, if you're not a patron, this is the end of the show. But for patrons, we'll meet you in the green room in a second. So, goodbye.
Bye. Bye.